Ka tonu aho kia whakaetia, koe ki te whaiwhai kone I tēnei rā. Arahina aho ki te kararehe tika, ki te wahi tika, ki te wā tika. I ask for your permission to hunt here today. Guide me to the right animal, the right place, the right time. So this is what we're actually going to turn off the track. Because in order to shoot wallaby, you've got to be at least 100 meters off track. In most cases, it's 300 meters for deer, but at least 100 meters off track for wallaby. I'm also going to strap on the GPS. Just like knowing exactly where I am. And in New Zealand, always have a pair of these. Something came through here today. You can just see how the ground is just rocked up. It's really hard to read exactly what it is, but something came through here just this morning. Hunting. For me, being out there in the forest and feeling the privilege to have this pristine moment of time to myself is the most sacred. Being out there isn't about finding trophy animals or fish I can mount to a wall. No, it's about moments. The moment when I leave the track, for instance. When my feet leave the safety of this carefully managed pathway and I get to decide my own direction, that's when the hunt begins. That's where I come alive. Senses that are dulled by the noise of modern life grow sharper by the minute. The ceaseless chatter of the busy mind simmers to a whisper. The single-mindedness of this immersive task overtakes the thoughts about yesterday and tomorrow. We call this presence, and we do well to listen to the message in this. This is living. So frustrating in here because you think you're gonna get these like nice openings, and then all you ever get is just like these little windows. There are moments of joy and discovery, moments of frustration and missed opportunity, moments of exhilarating success, and moments of pain and wishing you'd stayed at home. But in the end, all that blends into one, and I'm left with a feeling of fullness. What's full exactly, I can't even tell you. But I know that this is more real than anything else I do in this life. So I got absolutely skunked yesterday. Didn't see a single wallaby. Saw a big deer, but just couldn't get a shot. It was just too dense, too many trees in the way. So this is day 2. Hopefully today we'll spot some wallaby. So that wasn't successful either. So we're gonna have to resort to plan B most likely, which is gonna be some night wallaby culling. So let's see if we can get permission to do that. So this is take 3 on the wallabies. 2 days of hunting them in the bush, absolutely unsuccessful.
But we did get permission to go night shooting on private property tonight. So my friend AJ professionally culls these little grey kangaroos on private property, which I've never done, and we'll see what it's like. Fingers crossed we'll get some kangaroo on board tonight.
Hey! How's it going?
AJ, how are you?
Not bad. Welcome.
Oh, nice moment here. I tell you what, we've been hunting wallabies now for 2 days in the bush, and man, they're hard to hunt in the bush, eh?
So you daytime or nighttime hunting?
This is daytime hunting.
Okay, yeah, they are a bit harder at daytime.
Yeah.
I like the dusk evening because I've got the thermal that can help out.
Yeah.
So I'll take you down there and do some tonight, eh?
A short drive later, we're at the spot, ready to go, and hopes this time are high.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
There he is. Can you see him?
That was actually quite a good situation. I got the safety back on.
Yep.
I just rushed the first shot, and I didn't need to really. But
Yep. It's all learning about them and the excitement, and also you can see now when you shot it how it's moving.
yeah,
So you can visually identify that's how those animals move.
yeah.
So yeah, that's number one, we've tried it. Do we want to walk over those ways and see how we've gone over there and see if we've got any blood evidence, or do you think you've clearly missed it?
I reckon if I had hit him, he would have given us a sign that I
A
hit
sign?
him. Yeah.
All right, cool. But what we will do is we'll just head over there and we'll have a look down because
Cool.
you've said your rifle's better
Yeah.
at straight winds, not crosswinds.
Yeah,
We've got a bit of a crosswind at the moment.
It's the problem with the 17 HMI. It's a great caliber, but the wind affects it massively. So that would have been like what, 40 odd meters.
Yep,
Even over a short distance with the wind, it just travels.
yep. But that is what is like
Yeah.
shooting these fun things.
Nah, no worries. We'll get one.
Cool. No, we'll go that way.
Confident.
Where is you? There. Got it?
Come on. Dad got him. Okay, Charlie, go find it. Go find him.
Hard to believe it took us this long, but there you go, our first wallaby. And even though they're considered a nuisance, I offer this animal as much respect as I would a deer, or any other big game for that matter.
He's dead. He's just twitching a wee bit still. It's a female. She's got a joey too. Yeah, she's got a joey, unfortunately.
Wallaby are a marsupial and carry their young in a pouch. These juvenile animals are called joeys, and unfortunately these also have to be killed, a task I personally find tough.
It's bloody sad, but it is what it is. You know, they're introduced and they're a pest animal here. We're gonna dispatch the joey in a little bit.
And if I can please have the pelt when you're finished for sustainable culling, that would be
Yeah, definitely you can for sure.
beautiful.
Good girl, Charlie. Good girl. Good finding. Good finding. Hey, buddy. All right. Well, there you go. That's a wallaby. Bloody hell! After 3 days of hunting them, finally some success. It's just so quick. I don't know why, but when I first kind of had a look at them, just pictures online, I just didn't think that they were that quick. But they just take off and they're gone.
Insane speed, and they don't give you the chance to actually shoot them.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to know, right, I'm comfortable with my scope, I'm comfortable with my setup,
Yeah.
just shoot. Looks like the animal's down.
While Cheska and I trudged through the blackness of the moonless night to retrieve wallaby number 2, AJ took this thermal imaging video of us doing so. For anyone who hasn't seen thermal imaging before, this is what it looks like. And for this kind of harvesting, for it can't really be described as hunting, this tool is an invaluable asset.
Yeah, like when they're this size, man, in the bush, it's just impossible, eh? At least the bigger ones. Good girl, Charlie. Good job. Good job. Possible seeing these ones.
It's interesting though, we saw that one easier than we saw the bigger one.
Yeah.
That's a possum.
There's another critter on these places. It's a possum. Nicely coloured one. And a good thing that they don't use any poison around here, so we can utilize this as well for food or for dog food. It's another, predator taken out of the New Zealand environment. Good finding, Charlie. Good girl. It's not a bad spot for a bit of meat hunting.
Yeah, it's bedded down, it's moving. No, gone.
It's crazy with these, with the night shooting, you can literally just go back and forwards, shoot one on one end of the farm, and then go back to the other end of the farm, and they'll just come straight back out.
Charlie, sit.
But it is hard, probably waiting for the, for the thermal imaging scope to do the work until you can then lay down and shoot. But I mean, it's a lot more successful than 2 long days in the bush. So just glad we're getting some animals on deck and got some wallaby to cook.
After making the rounds several times, we finally managed to annoy the wallaby enough to stay hidden in the bush, but the night ends with 3 wallaby and a possum on the ground. We got what we came for, and so with an armful of game, we call it and head back to the truck.
So, 3 wallaby, 1 possum. Yeah, that was a hell of a lot easier than than trying to hunt them in the bush. So no, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. Thanks, AJ.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
And to the kitchen.
Finally, some success. After a few days of trying to hunt these things in the bush, we finally got lucky on our final night with AJ on private property and night culling these animals, and we finally managed to get some animals on board. So here you go, some nice, lean, clean, wild protein. After all that, I'm really excited to actually start cooking. I spent a little bit of time with my nose in the recipe books and settled on the simple but juicy preparation. I cut the wallaby legs into manageable chunks, bone in, and marinate them in oil and Cajun spice mix. Then I prepare the veggies by simply slicing them and finally chop some garlic cloves. Next, I saute the veggies with some balsamic vinegar until they're golden brown. I slice a few bits of smoked bacon and some spicy chorizo from the local butcher, fry them up and deblaze the pan with some Pinot Noir. Then I take the chunks of marinated wallaby meat and fry them in 2 separate pans so as not to crowd the space and get each piece nicely browned off. Lastly, I add veggies and meat together in a heavy casserole dish, top the lot off with beef stock, tomato puree, some more wine and a handful of aromatic herbs like thyme and bay leaf. Season and add to a preheated oven. I find with game meat it pays to slow your roll and really take your time. Wild meat comes from animals that actually get to live life properly, and so their muscles require a little bit more patience on your behalf. That isn't actually a bad thing. I simply think it fosters greater respect for the meat, and much like the hunt itself, forces the pace of things to slow a little. In today's world, that's useful. Oh my god, that smells fantastic. So there's a huge misconception that certain game animals are no good for eating and turn out really tough when you cook them. So come and have a look at this. Here's the tenderness test. This has been in the oven for an hour and a half, no more than that. Now look at that. Almost falling off the bone. Beautiful, tender, moist. But of course, tender and moist are one thing, two things. What does it taste like? Let's have a look. I am legitimately excited about this dish. This is really good. This is really good meat. I would argue that I could serve this to absolutely anyone, and you wouldn't know what it was. And you most certainly wouldn't guess that it was an animal that most people turn their noses up at. That's for sure. I love wallaby meat. It's really good. And there you have it. That was one fine meal cooked with time and love and enjoyed with sincere appreciation. To end, I just want to say this. There's a rich and plentiful resource of wild food out there, from plants to mushrooms to small and big game. And all you have to do is open your eyes and begin to look. Whether you're plant-based or a meat eater, the world doesn't have to be all pork belly and broccoli. There's an incredible array of wild food out there. In truth, you do have to figure out how to get it and how to work with it. But when you do, it's just so absolutely worth it. To know the feeling of participating in the age-old art of procuring wild food, processing and sharing it, it's special. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't eat something just because they haven't figured it out. Do your own research and find your own truth.